Alrighty, we are back, everybody. I wanted to start this one off a little bit different. We usually do our recaps, but I want to turn it over to the actual players as they explain a little bit of what happened in the last episode, get to share their thoughts of the last episode as well. So who wants to kick it off?
We be fucked.
I will say though, y'all handled it. I was trying to make that a challenging fight, and at least to my perspective, y'all handled it relatively easily. Rich, I don't know how y'all felt about it, but so that's why I wanted to open it up and kind of discuss what y'all thought about it.
Oh, I think, I think it went pretty well. I think it was, I think the big linchpin actually in that fight that made it easy was the, Raven's ability.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Now, had she moved into a different spot, it probably would have played out differently. Right?
Yeah.
One thing I had went over after we had cut off, I don't know who all was still around. Part of the mechanics of the whole thing was that every round when it got to Elizabeth's turn, when she would wave her arms and the big braziers would kind of like flare up with fire, and these extra cultists would appear. The mechanic behind it was that the braziers could have been taken out to prevent more cultists from appearing each round.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's one of the reasons I was firing at that orb thing.
Yeah.
Same.
I know.
That's the reason why That's the reason why I chunked it at the wall.
Yeah. Well, they're getting on the right track. They're just focusing on the wrong thing.
Yeah. I figured there was like a control source, but yeah, that was my opinion. Is once Raven was in place, that's what shifted the course of the battle, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Plus, we had enough ranged fighters to where we didn't have to get up close and personal with anybody to actually weren't massive amounts of damage dealt to us from a ranged perspective.
And
that would have put me in a worse situation. I would have been kind of trying to move all over the place.
Yeah, and the cultist members were gonna move up to engage in melee combat, but they couldn't.
Yeah, that did make things a lot simpler. But that's kind of the best way to do things sometimes too. Is keep it simple, stupid.
Yeah. Now.
Yeah.
One thing I don't know if we were able to touch on with Pooh. Did you understand what was happening?
Like in general.
So
yeah,
the whole part of this, it was actually kind of with you in mind, because I know how big of a fan you are of something, and I pulled something from that.
Yeah, I saw, I knew what was going on, and I was like, hey, I know this, I recognize this. So, but yeah, no, I thought it was a well, especially for being the first like true, battle that we had within the campaign. It wasn't overly taxing for low level characters, but it wasn't just like a, immediate, let's just, we stomp the dog shit out of everybody,
Right.
It could have gone either way, especially if our characters, like, if Raven didn't have her abilities, and, if we didn't have, my rogue, and then, Sax's character, with his Eldritch Blast that he can, cast from afar. It made it a little bit better if, it could have taken a lot more turn if we had more melee-based combat, because, our characters, other than mine, not having any true weapons for melee combat, it would have been a lot more difficult.
Yeah.
But it just happened to work out. It just happened to work out that way.
Right.
So, plus, all in all, I think it was just an interesting little side I guess, I mean, you'd almost consider it to be a side quest within the campaign because it's not technically part of the whole main
Right.
main Curse of Strahd story. So
it has,
yeah,
elements that tie into
yeah,
the main story, but it itself is they commonly refer to that as the Death House, and
I see why.
it's and trust me, there is a whole lot that I had taken out. It was 10 times more dangerous than it is. It's has been known to TPK the party a few times, where like the actual house comes to life with like these booby traps and all this stuff, kind of like attacking you
Yeah.
out of nowhere. And then like once you get down, that's before you even get down to the dungeon. And then like once you get down into the dungeon part, there was like 20 monsters, 20 encounters down there. Like this is just way too much.
Yeah, well, I mean, sometimes, especially, I mean, I can understand, especially why that would be TPK material, especially with it being so early in the campaign. Most of the characters aren't going to be above level 2 or 3, so
Right.
you don't have a wide access to spells or a whole lot of different materials. Plus, with the whole starting thing of everybody losing their weapons and armor and any materials like that, I can see where that would become a bit of a problem throughout the game.
Yeah.
Yeah, one thing I'll say to that is those kinds of encounters are fun once you have some levels on your characters and you can really start thinking about like how to approach a dungeon of that size where it can literally kill you. But I think it the first major entry into a campaign like this, that's sometimes I think a little bit of an overkill.
Yeah, because it had the Grick that I left. It had a couple of areas that had like zombies put in there. There's a couple of areas that are like 1 or 2 areas had like a wraith or something like that in there. There was like
Jesus.
swarms of like rats and stuff coming out to attack you. It was like, man, they're not gonna make it to the final dungeon.
And you also figure that when Curse of Strahd was written, it is a standalone module, Dungeons and Dragons, and you figure when they wrote it, it was written for seasoned players who've had a lot of time. I mean, not saying we're not seasoned because we did have a whole year of my starter campaign. What, year before last? 2023 was when we ran it. So you figure we have some knowledge of it, but you figure that if you take somebody who's been playing for consistently for a long time, they're able to handle things like that a lot better because they know the mechanics of the game a lot better than say we do, who played sporadically over the last several years.
Yeah.
So I could see where that would make it more of a challenge for veteran players, but that's what kind of the best part about D&D is you can dumb it down for the new players and still get the story and the same enjoyment from it for them without wiping them out every other battle.
Right. And
plus, I just love fucking with my DM.
And it kind of goes back to like how I like to gear my games. They're very story driven, story oriented, and like the times that we do have encounters, they're maybe a little bit more impactful and more meaningful.
Well, that's kind of the whole point of D&D is it's not supposed to be nonstop action and battles all the time. It's a playing game. You're supposed to play out like play the characters. It's it's the basis for all of your best RPG video games that we play nowadays. Like your Mass Effects, your any of those big ones that have been named in the last 20 years. Where you actually introduce yourself into that world and get involved, and you feel for the characters, you get to know them, and that's it's the people who played this back in the 80s and when it first, started that create these games now that we play, on PlayStation, PC, whatever it may be. So, you can see the traces of all that within these games now.
Yeah. Anybody wanted to add anything else?
I'm good.
Okay. I wanted to just let everybody know as well. We did lose Arctic and Song. They were no longer able to continue playing the sessions with their busy scheduling. So that's why we unfortunately had to kind of write them off in the last session. So we will be continuing on without them.
Dude, that's when I could have used that book.
No battle cats.
All right.
What's
so
the plan?
Last we left off, y'all were camping out in the barn,
Sleep.
I think.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
And y'all had
That I did not want to go back into, but fuck it.
Y'all had found a little sort of gift basket of sorts for y'all left behind by somebody.
Yep.
And it had
Yeah.
a bottle of wine, a bit of gold,
Some health potions, if I
and
remember correctly.
a letter that seemed to be from Strahd,
Yep.
kind of welcoming you home, it said.
Mhm.
Welcome to my digger.
So, where y'all want to pick up from there?
So the letter gave us coin and then thanked us for killing the thingamabob or dealing with the House of Dustin.
Horrors.
And
Yeah.
but did it give us an indication as to like, hey, the village is this direction or anything like that, or it was just or is it just a thank you note basically? I think it was just a thank you note. So yeah. Well, Xykryn rolls out of the loft because I was up on top and dusts off the thing and so looks at the party and goes, I think we should probably get underway before those wolves come back and realize that there's nothing here to keep them from not coming in and investigating the situation.
This is a valid idea. I kind of don't like hanging out in this barn because last time we were in this barn, we stuck in that house because we had to be the good guy.
Yeah, I really got to stop doing that. Spief my sword and all that junk.
Right? I know. We gave ghosts our damn daggers. What?
I don't know.
They did.
We gave him pitchforks, actually, if I recall. Oh no, you did give him one of your daggers. I gave him a pitchfork. We should probably look around for those. They're probably still here.
Probably. Could you reread that letter again? Because it had.
Let's see.
I'm like Sax here. Did you mention anything? Because I know it said something about coin and a place to sleep and stuff like that, but I can't remember if it gave directions on which way to go.
Hello, newcomers to my land. Thank you for cleansing those vermin from my land. Your efforts are appreciated, even if just for one night. This land has been plagued with darkness for too long. I have been watching you. I am intrigued to see more. I wish you luck in the coming days. You will need it. Take these gifts as aid in your adventures. There are 4 healing potions, a bottle of our finest wine, a bit of coin to fill your bellies, and maybe a place to rest your head for the night. Welcome home. Signed, Count Strahd von Zarovich.
Ooh, Count.
Well, following that logic, the only reasonable direction to go, because if we go backwards.
Yeah, y'all know y'all
road.
probably shouldn't go back the way y'all have entered and came from.
Yeah, so the
y'all
only
can
thing to do is
continue
forge
down the road in the direction that y'all were heading when y'all came across the house.
And should have just kept on going the first time.
Those pesky kids.
Yeah, you didn't get possessed by the little bastards.
Hey, it helped you.
Yeah, but still, I didn't want to get inside me.
Did we each take a healing potion?
We long rested, so we all should be back at max hit points.
Well, no. What I'm saying,
How to divvy it up.
is
Oh, yeah.
There was 4 healing potions. Do we each take 1?
Yeah.
Okay.
Let me check my inventory, make sure I put it in there. I think we did that last time after we went off air.
And you said there was coinage.
Mm-hmm.
How much coinage?
I think I had said maybe like 20 gold.
Yeah, I added it to my character sheet already.
Okay.
20 gold a piece,
Total.
or
per? Total.
Oh,
Okay,
yeah.
Yeah. So it was enough
5.
to like split up between y'all and get something to eat, maybe somewhere to stay for the night.
Okay, I'm just, like I said, I'm writing all this down
Yeah.
or typing it all in.
Yeah.
Yeah. Y'all hadn't.
I forgot to add the potion, but yeah, I just
y'all
did.
didn't divvy it up between y'all.
Yeah, we did divvy up the
Okay.
gold though, because I did see where I added that. Did I add a health potion? No, I did not.
So like basically each of y'all should have had 5 gold from it. Let's go over to
I went to the-
theater. Well,
On the salvage woods.
yeah, that'll be better for now. Y'all have y'all tokens still on that one.
Mine. Okay.
Oh,
So
do we know
mine
where
says
we're
I don't have
heading
a
yet?
token.
Yeah. So y'all from exiting the house, y'all are not gonna go back the way y'all came from because y'all know that what's that way. Y'all were going to continue down the road in the direction that y'all were heading when y'all came across the house.
Okay. We came across another house.
They're like, nope, not going in it.
We
Okay, I'm
ignore
still on
said
that. I'm still on that blank page there.
I'm sorry,
Blackbeard.
I must have really
let
kind of
me
went.
drop you your.
There we go.
Okay.
Okay.
I don't know why that one's not working.
There's
for
2
you.
of me. I was going to say, yay, there's 2
like
of me.
you were on there, but it wasn't working for some reason. Okay.
All right. So we are going to haunted shithole house and continue down the path.
I was gonna say y'all aren't going to the haunted house.
Yeah, we load up our we put all our gear on from sleeping and we head out onto the road, the most logical direction.
All right, y'all are gonna
heading away from the barking and the way we came. We're going.
Right.
I think we're going west. Is that correct?
Yes, it's kind of like a northwest kind of meandering road.
On the road again.
And as y'all leave the barn area and the house behind y'all, y'all get a few paces out onto the road, and it is kind of recently nighttime, so it is kind of dark out. And
so damn, we slept all day.
Well, y'all have been in that house a long time.
Yeah.
True. Felt like we were in there for months.
Right. Y'all basically spent a whole day in that house. Because it was like about 10 a.m. when y'all entered the house.
Mm-hmm.
And it's probably around 6, 7 o'clock now.
The next day.
No, there's later that day. I mean, like I said, it took about 7 hours for y'all to get through it all in game time.
Well, then I was counting on that long rest we took too, because that would have jumped.
That's true. I forgot about
Yeah, we
so
long
it'd be,
rested.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
that's what I say. So it's the next day, next evening,
um,
which would make sense because we just got the shit beat out of us a whole day, so we needed the rest.
yeah. And y'all took another rest just now. So, I mean, since y'all did rest in the barn, I wasn't thinking about that part. It would actually be morning when y'all head out again.
Yep.
Yeah, that's the reason why I was wondering, like, did we sleep the whole day or?
Yeah, no, I totally forgot y'all had just y'all exited the house at night, and I forgot y'all had took a rest.
Took that long rest.
In the barn. Okay. So as y'all are heading out, y'all get a few paces out from the barn, and so since it's daylight out, it's pretty easy to see. Ahead of y'all, you see what seems to be a feather floating down from the sky.
Okay. How far out is this feather?
It's in front of y'all, maybe about 60 feet away, 50 feet away.
Okay.
Close enough to kind of see something fluttering down, kinda. And as y'all get closer to it, where it kind of landed on the road, you actually see like a parchment, little piece of paper on the road.
Is this a black feather by chance?
It is.
Okay. Xykryn steps up to the parchment and grabs the feather, puts it in his vest or something.
Okay.
In that case, I'll walk up and pick up the.
Well, I'll grab the parchment too. Yeah, like I grab the feather and I look it over and I'm assuming it looks like a regular feather, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I put it in my vest and I look at the parchment.
Okay. So on the parchment it says, "Head into town to a place where sorrows may drown. There's fighting, laughter, and patrons galore. There's tricksters, thieves, nobles, and more. When you arrive inside, look among the people to find your new guide. Near the falls there she'll be. Her table is bare, set for some strange cards. Her face is worn, bitter, and scorned. Her garb's the color of fire and blood. Her eyes the color of the sky. Your time is limited. You need to find her, so go on and try."
We're going to the bar.
Yeah.
We know that one down.
Tavern time, baby. No.
We're going to the bar and we got a little gypsy woman. This is going to be fucking great.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Xykryn looks up to the sky and gives the sky a little side eye and passes the note off to everybody.
Kind of cloudy.
Yeah.
You don't see anything per se.
Right. And he passes the note to everybody else so that they can read it and goes, "It appears as fate has given us some instructions."
Yeah, I don't know if like trusting shit that falls from the sky is a good idea, but ain't got a whole lot else to go on right now. So, tally ho, my friends.
I say kind of just in nonchalant to the group. I'm like, well, sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't. And I go, "Sir, we've never been here before. Seems like as good a place as any to start."
Yeah.
At the very least, we can at least get drunk.
I think having a guide could be very useful.
Yes, an old gypsy woman with tarot cards. Yeah, let's trust her. It's a great idea.
She's from here. Well, yeah.
Yeah, and everything we've met from here so far is dead, possessed, or fucking, trying to kill us. So, yeah.
I want to send.
I say to that, yeah, that's just an average day. All right.
The hell do y'all do on an average day? Jesus. I want to go back to my books.
He says to Loghain, "What doesn't kill you mutates and tries again."
True. What doesn't kill you gives you horrible coping mechanisms and a dark sense of humor. So, onward, I guess.
Yeah.
I ain't going backwards, that's for damn.
And I say, as we're walking, I'm saying, we should be cautious. There's obviously more than one entity that's keeping an eye on us from far.
Yeah.
As you continue west along this forgotten road, the trees on both sides of the road grow dense again. The ever-present mist snakes along the road as usual. The deathly stillness hangs over the foggy woods. Somebody roll me a perception check, whoever wants to.
Got it.
I done did.
So did
and I think you'll want to take my... Oh, what the crap?
If you did it in D&D Beyond, you'll have to give it a minute.
Yeah, because I rolled a 20.
Okay. I'll take.
Yeah, we'll go with yours.
I'll take your word for it.
Because I rolled a 20.
No problem. Yeah,
I was on D&D Beyond, and I saw it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it showed up when I flicked over to D&D Beyond. Now yours just came through. So
That's fine.
still a 16.
Yeah. Okay. So anybody that got a 16 or higher, you briefly catch something that moved behind one of the trees in the woods.
Hey, everybody, we need to stay alert.
You hear what sounds like a bird whistle. And some of the bushes and leaves rustle behind you.
So I didn't see the thing rustling. So did I hear when he pointed that out to us? Did I hear the bird whistle? And was it and behind us where the rustling's coming from, or?
The whistle came from in front of y'all, about 15 feet.
Okay.
And then
I'm gonna cast Detect Evil and Good.
Okay. You detect good. So
Guys,
go
ahead. I don't think there's any danger here.
Yeah, you don't
I'd still
detect
be on the guard.
anything evil. As you turn around, about 15 feet behind y'all, you see two hooded men wearing leather armor adorned with leaves and like a camo. They have their crossbows aimed at you. Two more jump out about 15 feet in front of you with crossbows aimed at you as well. Who are you? State your business.
Xykryn readies his long sword.
Loghain readies his daggers, preparing to hurl if necessary.
I've got my hammer and sickle out.
We're travelers on the road.
Where are you from?
All over.
Here and there.
Why do you want to know?
Here and there. All about. Someone needs to say what's it to you? Just finish up the conversation.
One of them kind
Yo,
of
mama.
Hopefully you didn't say that to him. One of them kind of lowers his crossbow, and he goes, "We're Barovian scouts. Have you seen a girl named Gertruda?"
No, we have not seen anybody.
We've not seen any.
We haven't seen any living people.
That's what I was getting ready to say. We've not seen anything living.
And I don't know if I want to see somebody named Gertrude.
I know, right? Gertruda.
Have you
sounds like a beast of a woman?
Have you found a body then?
We found several of them.
We found several. We made several.
He kind of picks back up his crossbow at you.
Look, man, they were evil. They were trying to kill everybody. They were trying to kill us. It was self-defense.
My friend here forgets to fail to add context to the situation. They were attacking us.
And they were undead.
So. One of them tried to toss me off a balcony.
One of them killed a baby.
That too.
There's
that.
A number of
and her kids and her husband and the maid. Come on. She was crazy, possessed, evil. We did y'all a favor. You're welcome.
All right. Well, there are quite a bit of undead that roam these woods and these lands, so do be careful out here.
Oh, we were fine until y'all showed up and started pointing crossbows at us. We're just walking.
Well, that's a dangerous land.
And your purpose in this land is to protect it from what?
Well, scouts from the village of Barovia up ahead. We're looking for a missing girl. Her name's Gertruda.
We have not seen anyone.
How long has she been missing?
About 3 nights.
Okay, so not a couple 100 years. That's a good sign.
How old is the girl?
About 19, 20.
Okay.
Yeah, no, we ain't seen no teenagers.
So it's not a child.
She wasn't going to a house.
No,
was she?
Doesn't sound like a 200-year-old girl.
And
he
the Rose was definitely like about 12, 13, so it doesn't quite match the description.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he says, did she go into the woods freely of her own accord?
Not sure. We just received word that she was missing, and we were sent out to look for her. One of the other scouts takes out like a water skin and takes a drink.
I say we are new. Do I tell him that? Yeah, I say we're new to this land.
Figured as much. Don't quite recognize your faces.
I'm sure you would have recognized my face had you seen me before, so this is accurate. I don't say that, no.
Really?
The dragonborn and the tiefling stick out a little bit.
A little bit. I say
my flaming red hair probably does too.
Yeah.
We're looking for
wow, that's
shelter.
racist as hell. I'm just a
Y'all will have to get later
racist
into the story a
motherfuckers.
little bit to get to know more about that.
About what?
Significance of her red hair.
Oh, okay. So I say, yeah, since I said since I only just arrived, and he says, figured as much, didn't recognize your faces. Like, look, we're having some interesting experiences here in your land. We were looking for a stopover.
Well,
to freshen up after our encounters. However, I say,
all right. I'm gonna mute for a few minutes. Okay.
Okay. Oh yeah, new to these lands, we're looking for a stopover to freshen up after our encounter.
We've been on the road a while. We need a place to rest.
Yeah, if
preferably not a barn.
Do you require assistance in hunting or looking for this person?
I believe we have it under control. You might want to continue forth to the village. It's just about a mile and a half further down the road there.
Well, if we happen to see a young woman wandering around, we'll point her to
and
get her back to the village and
like a description. She's about 19, 20 years old, young girl, brown hair, slender.
Yeah. I ask him, have they seen any signs of her yet? Trails, footprints, etc. in their current scouting?
No, none yet.
Well, I can tell you that we just came from the old manor back there. There's nothing left of it. Kind of fell down, and we didn't notice any indicate that there was anybody alive there. So you probably don't need to travel all that way just to search there for nothing. There's a couple of our companions buried in the ruins, but no girls, nobody that matches the description you just gave us.
You'll have left Conrad's.
Are there any special features that we should know about her?
Not particularly. And,
is she hot?
Oh my god.
Look, man, I've spent my life living in a monastery. Give me this.
I slowly turn around and backhand Loghain. And we're gonna say, shut up.
Sorry.
Some, I guess she might be considered. Was that relevant? But okay.
Well, I mean, if a beautiful young maiden goes disappearing in the woods, that's usually, something kind of, there's a lot of tales. I've read a lot of stories and tales with my studies that always start off with a beautiful young maiden disappearing in the woods, and they don't take the ugly ones.
My friend read a lot in his youth.
Not to be blunt, but they don't take ugly chicks.
I look at him and say, well, my name is Jin. If you need our assistance, you can find us in the bar, a mile away in the town.
Yes.
I look to the
Blood
gentleman.
on the Vine Tavern. If you're looking for it.
The who?
The Blood on the Vine Tavern.
Okay.
Blood on the Vine Tavern. Wow, that sounds pleasant.
It's not much, but it's something for you.
I appreciate that. I say to him, more kind of like, the important business conversation of, like telling him what he needs to know more so than pleasantries. I look to him and I say, the night that we entered the manor, there were sounds of packs of wolves from the east nearing our location. Pretty close. Beware.
Are filled with wolves, large and small. Very dangerous place.
We've noticed. Just keep an eye out.
Right, and so shall you.
But before y'all go and before we go our separate ways, is there like an older woman that spends a lot of her time at the bar? We were told to that she might be able to help us in some way. We just trying to kind of figure out if we're wasting our time looking for somebody to, or if you know of somebody like that, if you can kind of give us an idea of if she's real or not.
You'll say an old woman. I mean, there are the occasional women that enter the bar, and most of the time it's just men. But I mean, couples come sometimes together. None in particular stand out.
Fair enough. Appreciate your guidance on this.
Xykryn gives a look to Loghain like, let's go. They don't need to know all of our business right up front.
Well, I figure much enough just to like I said, I don't trust shit falling out of the sky, so I want to make sure this is not just like a trap leading us there or a false thing. If they recognize, and since there's a chance there might not be, okay, we can kind of. I don't want to waste our time any more than we already have.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't give any details. I just said that we were told that somebody, an older woman, could help us.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing wrong with that.
Details unfurl themselves the more that you poke at them. And
well, okay.
What was that?
I want to make sure what exactly did you? Because at first I thought you just said like an old woman. Like, what exactly did you ask?
I just said that is there an older woman who is a frequent patron of the bar?
Right.
Because we were told that we could find that there was a older woman who is a frequent patron, might be able to help us. And that's all I gave. Like I didn't go into any detail about what she would wear and any of the details from the note. Just like if she's like a regular patron there, like people will see her, recognize her.
Right.
Like oh yeah, that's
right.
From da 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 da.
Okay, so yeah, that what I said is what he would have said on that.
Yeah, just trying to get a general idea if they might recognize a person of that general description.
Right. Okay.
So I do think of one last thing before I want him to leave.
Mm-hmm.
I mentioned to him, any chance that you've seen any Dustani and not Dustani? What are they? Vistani? Passing Vistani in the area recently.
Well, there are a clan of Vistani near the village.
Those bastards.
They hail towards the falls, towards the west, though.
west of the village?
Right.
Okay.
Near Sir Falls.
Near Sir Falls. Okay.
Yeah, Tser. Ster. Yeah, whatever.
All right. Yeah, that's it. I nod to them, wish them luck in their quest, and gesture to the group. Now that we have our direction and destination.
All
right. Once we get a little ways away, I kind of lean over and quietly, not that way. I don't know how good their hearing is, but say, should we go to the bar, or should we go try and retrieve y'all's belongings from this group of travelers that obviously robbed y'all in your sleep?
I say to, I'm assuming we're just casually, and now that we're out of earshot of these people and we're generally traveling towards Barovia, and we're just, this is like on the road speak. I tell them, I'm like, well, if we are to believe the parchment, time is of the essence, and I think we should start there.
True.
The tavern.
Mm-hmm.
Valid point. It does seem like that the Vistani have set up their camp over by these falls and probably won't be moving on for at least a little while, so we can look for this old woman at the tavern, and then if we are able to go and retrieve y'all's belongings, because y'all are in desperate need of better weapons and equipment.
Yeah.
And
I actually
funds
look
are
towards,
low.
Yeah. I actually look to the Jinwunax and Raven, and I go, would the faithful of this group, or the people of faith of this group, wish to chime in on this? Do we follow the path of that has been set forth in this parchment paper landing at our feet? Take that as a faith sign of faith and stick to that trend, or would you?
I truly believe that we need to investigate that parchment.
Agree.
The faithful has spoken.
Fair enough.
Okay.
Just wanted to put it out there, see what y'all thought.
Oh, I get. Yeah, I'm taking a bunch of notes so I can remember for the next time we play.
Okay.
Oh yeah, no.
And
you're fine.
It's hard to do. So.
Yeah, no, I got you. Like I said, I just see what y'all want to do. I know y'all making do with what we have recovered, weapon and armament.
Like I said, I'm a Russian. I've got a hammer and sickle.
Yes, Comrade Jin. All right. Well, let's tally forth to the inn, and let's take a look for this woman. Said she'd have strange cards, red clothing, sitting by herself, kind of old in the face. So let's go and take a look, see if we see anybody like that. I'd suggest we just kind of blend in and act like we're just there to get a drink and rest. Because after our little encounter with the scouts, we can tell that they trust outsiders that way.
I kind of give Loghain the side eye and go, yes, blend in.
Sorry, can't do anything about.
I'm a big freaking dragon-looking dude. You want me to blend in?
And I'm a demonic-looking hell beast, So.
I mean, just fly casual.
Fly
casual.
But I do need to get up and move around.
Okay. We're gonna step away for a break real quick. All right, we are back in game. Yes.
Right.
So the road that y'all are traveling down, it kind of bends to the right a little bit. After walking about 20 minutes, you see a clearing up ahead where these ghastly woods part away, and you see like this valley in front of y'all. Like I said, I'd shared a picture in the Discord for y'all to kind of reference. As y'all reach this clearing, at last, civilization. The dark woods fall away, revealing a misted, gloomy valley dotted with clouds and fog. Rolling thunder clouds cast a gray pale over the land below. No sun visible
rolling.
in the cold gray light. Evergreen trees of the foliage woods climb the sides of the mountains that enclose the valley. To the north rises a stony mount of tufts of trees. To the south, a snow-capped peak with rugged slopes towers immersively above the land below. Straight ahead, the muddy road continues on, passing through the yellowed grass and farmland until it reaches a small, humble village. Crop fields line the right side of the road, wheat and rye, possibly, wilted and sad looking. It looks like the crops have failed. A sad time ridden, rotted fences line the roadway. Emaciated cattle stand like stick figures, staring through you with blank gazes. Far above the village looms a dark, twisted castle, standing alone atop a pillar of sheer stone that must reach well over 1,000 feet into the sky. For an instant, a distant spear of lightning crackles across the sky, illuminating the towering keep in harsh lights and shadows. A winding river makes its way through the valley. So, y'all are at the clearing, heading towards the village.
Okay. What's this? And you'll have to forgive me because I forgot to write it down. What is this village name?
Barovia.
Barovia. Okay.
Oh, see, I thought Barovia was actually the name of the entire country.
Yes, that too.
It is.
Oh, okay. So it's both.
Yeah.
So it's like New York.
So we're going to
Right.
Barovia City, Barovia.
Yeah.
Yep.
So it's like New York, New York.
Right. There's a village of Barovia in Barovia.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, you did have me confused there for a minute because I was like, is Barovia the town or is it the country? Or okay, cool.
Yeah.
That makes sense now.
Yeah.
All right. So you said the villagers all kind of have this like dazed, kind of dead look to their eyes.
Well, y'all are still about a mile from the village. You see it in the distance there from that clearing, and you're making your way. The land kind of slopes down from the woods, and you're making your way along the muddy trail.
So I look at the rest of the party and say, it looks like the village of Barovia, as well as the entire country, has fallen upon hard times with the cattle dying in the fields, the crops looking very unhealthy as well. We should be even more cautious now because you don't know if it's something in the water or a curse or what may be causing this. What's the word I'm looking for?
Blight.
Blight. Yes, thank you. Yes, blight to have befallen this land.
As you trudge down the muddy path, as the forbidding silhouettes of the village began to materialize, the sight is far from welcoming. A jagged dirt trench encircles the entire settlement, 5 feet deep and lined with countless sharpened stakes and like barricades of sorts that jut outward like the maw of like this monstrous beast. Whatever defenses the villagers had cobbled together seemed hastily designed and grimly functional.
So I look over at the demon spawn, and I kind of give them that look, like, okay, and to say, something either happened or they feel like something's going to happen here.
I
Xykryn replies and goes, probably both.
I look at them and I look at the party and go, this is defending against more than just wolves.
Oh yes, much more.
So we all kind of look at each other and just, without saying anything, just we all, oh good Lord, the words, I'm missing the words. We all get that sense of, be on the ready.
Mm-hmm.
We're not just walking blindly.
Alert.
Silent acknowledgement.
Yeah,
danger.
There you go. Thank you.
So, yeah, I'm going to just rest my hands on the pommels of my daggers, just being at the ready for anything that may occur without being, too obvious about it.
Xykryn is actually just progressing forward as normal. I mean, he's like not.
It must be Tuesday.
It must be Tuesday. Yeah.
Well, and I make sure that. Sorry, guys. Loghain and Raven are in between me and Xykryn. Like Xykryn is taking the lead, I'm bringing up the rear. Because I think I'm not too for sure, but I think have we gone past 10 minutes since we've talked to the guards?
Yeah.
Yeah, he said it was about 30 minutes since we left them that we...
Okay, then never mind.
Yeah,
I thought it lasted
walk
longer
about
than that.
a mile and a half past them to get here.
Yeah.
Well, no, I was thinking about my detect good and evil.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The duration, but it only lasts up to 10 minutes. So
yeah.
Hold on. Let me look at something real quick on my character sheet. I do have.
Well, I don't know. I don't want everybody to waste a spell slot.
No, it's not that. I'm seeing what my passive detection is.
I don't think we have much to worry about, to be honest. The guards were from here, or the scouts, and they were relatively normal, common people.
Yeah.
This trench and this field and stuff is protecting the town against everything that Barovia has to offer. But it's kind of like the belt at the fat man's buffet. It's like in case things need to be held in, they can be held in. But I got a feeling we can enter into this town, without much challenge.
Yeah.
I'm sure they'll take our money.
I'm just trying to make sure that we're just all, safe.
Yep.
Yeah. I understand. Agreed. Like I said, just kind of, I was just seeing what my range on my passive perception is to see if I'm picking up any weird from the area as we are making our way into town.
Xykryn looks at Loghain, kind of fidgeting and looking back and forth, and I go, "What you were? Say what you said again. You were anything odd?"
Yeah, I was just seeing if I got feelings or just bad vibes coming from anything in particular.
Yeah,
using my passive.
Yeah, I looked at Loghain and I go, "Don't worry, this whole place is odd and bad vibes." I continue to push on forth.
Bad vibes doesn't seem to end.
Yeah, allow me to assure you that it is everywhere.
This is the new norm.
These are things that I know about.
Yeah, I guess I just ready to jump out, and villagers were already on because we've already been snuck up on by the scouts. I wanted to make sure there's nobody else seeing a group of strangers walking, especially when they're missing girl and everything that's going on with this trench, everything like that. I just want to make sure we're not ambushed.
Right.
Yep.
Okay.
All right.
At the road's edge, a charred pyre is mounted up on the ground. It's
Higher?
pyre.
Funeral pyre.
Pyre.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
It's scorched remains piled high with remnants of some horrific battle. Blackened earth and ash choked the ground beneath it, mingling with a grim scattering of bones, rusted armor, twisted and ruined weapons. The stench of burnt flesh and rot still cling to the air, faint but undeniable.
Huh. So there's a big pile of burnt bodies there.
Mm-hmm.
Can we tell about how old these things look? This pyre looks?
Well, based on his description of it, it can't be. If the scent is still in the air, that kind of lingers for
a couple of days,
a while.
A couple of days old, maybe.
Okay.
Sorry, didn't mean to interrupt.
It's all right.
I look at Xykryn and say, it looks like they've had were attacked recently, and so obviously they didn't come out on the good end of the battle.
I say, definitely doesn't look like, definitely doesn't look like the case.
It was here.
So, okay.
Oh, go ahead.
Okay. Since I've seen, throughout especially in the last house, have I seen you, Xykryn, doing your thing where you examine the bodies and stuff like that and get your thing, or is that kind of like still like a secret, or like are we kind of aware that you have the ability to kind of?
I don't know. You'd have to ask Blackbeard.
Well,
because I remember at one when you were investigating, I want to say it was Clara's body. Like we were all in the room and you were kind of, going over your thing with it. So I was just wondering if that's like something we kind of know about now.
Y'all definitely have seen him do it a time or two before. I don't know if he's actually went into detail as to what it is.
No, he hasn't gone into any detail about what it is, but we're
aware
that he has like
was talking about.
You're aware that he has some sort of ability,
like his extra sensory perception or whatever you want to call it.
Right.
Sorry, my bad.
When it comes, okay. I mean, since I'm kind of aware, look at Xykryn and be like, are you feeling anything from these, pile of bodies, or, kind of. Like I'm not really out of game. I'm aware of what's going on because we've just heard the conversations y'all have had. But in game, I'm not sure what you got going on. But I've seen you able to interpret stuff from dead bodies. So I'm kind of like, are your senses, to learn anything from this pile of corpses here? I guess would be the way I would phrase it.
Well, so Blackbeard, this is a pyre, which means everything's burnt to a crisp, right?
Mm-hmm.
We never really discussed how my ability works into what depth.
Mm-hmm.
Would I be able to do anything with just ashes? Do you think, or is that like maybe they're too far gone for there to be any kind of ability to connect?
Well,
or
the description did say there was some bones that you could see.
Okay.
And weapons, armor.
Again, like I said, I've seen you kind of, like I don't know if it's like magical or able to pick up on stuff like that.
What do you say to me exactly now?
Okay, I guess the way I'm gonna phrase it is, can you investigate and using whatever, I've seen you, or how do I put it? I've seen you investigate dead bodies in the past and able to draw conclusions from what you learn. Is there anything that you can learn from this pile of corpses that could give us any idea of what here.
Okay. So
if that makes sense.
Yeah. So I just listen to what he says, and I don't really give him any too much of a reaction. I step forward to I guess I step forward to the
Poking
pile.
prod.
I kind of move my hands around in the charred remains, specifically not touching any bones yet.
Okay.
Anything happen?
So what specifically are you touching?
Like, okay, so
Or are you touching anything
I'm
at all?
I don't want to touch the bones
Okay.
yet. I would assume that because it was a pyre, it got high and hot enough that it would have had enough flames to make flesh and basically to ashes at this point, right?
Somewhat, yeah.
So I would touch the ashes specifically, and not anything that would be that look like a carcass.
Okay.
To start. So specifically touching the ashes. Anything?
You get this kind of whirlwind of it's dark. It's chaotic. There are villagers screaming all around you. You see maybe like about 20, 30 villagers kind of fighting around you. You see these wolves and these shambling, rotted type corpses like rushing after the wall and through the barricades and stuff, and people trying to fight them off.
Okay. With that information, I investigate the area of this pyre, right? It's kind of trying to pick out pieces. So I'll just throw an investigation check just in case you need to use it for anything. And I want to try and see if I mean, obviously it's a pile of frickin' bones and stuff, and maybe there's some carcasses left over. But I would try and spot out and see if this is a pile of wolves, or if this is a pile of dead bodies that were humans, or if it's a combination of the two, and whatever these undead carcasses are. And I would try and determine, like, is this a pyre just of their dead, or like the entirety of the battle?
It seems to be a pile of entirety.
Okay. So I am going to then specifically look for bones or carcasses that look like soldiers, or like I'm not going to take a shovel and like dig this whole damn thing out. I'm just going to skim over the top. See if I notice like a soldier base, like maybe it was an armor or something, carcass or bones, like human remains. And if I find that, I'll touch that specifically.
Right. You basically kind of get the same
same feeling.
Yeah, you may see it instead of like a whirlwind of different angles and different stuff kind of flashing all at once. You kind of like see it from one perspective, but basically the same thing.
Okay. Xykryn's curious and is going to try and find a wolf. I want to see what that's all about.
I would say, especially since they, would have smaller bones, sort of. Probably nothing that you could find left of a wolf.
Yeah, they had burnt up.
Probably.
Okay.
I'm assuming, yeah.
I'm going to assume so far, because we haven't really talked much about my backstory and where I have and have not used this ability. that I've probably never touched anything demonically or cursed undead. Is that an accurate statement, would you say?
Yeah, probably.
Would I innately have any concern about doing so that you can think of?
No.
Okay. What did these corpses you said that I saw, the undead, were they humanoid or larger monstrosity type things, or
They were all humanoid, some larger than the rest of them. Some seemed abnormally kind of bigger.
so like larger, like not quite giant size, but like taller orcish size,
Something,
like
yeah.
bigger than a normal human?
Yeah. More
Okay.
more disfigurement, more monstrosity kind of.
Okay. And I'm assuming nothing that I would recognize immediately from my travels.
No.
Okay. So yeah, I'm gonna try and find a undead, and I look to the I look to the sky, and like, give me some extra juice look, right? And I want to try and go as deep as I can onto one of these undead things and see if I can gleam past anything. Like, obviously I know there's going to be a battle, but I want to go deeper and see if I can get any other information.
Right. Even if you were able to find something, I don't think it would give you anything else besides what you've already.
Useful.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So he makes more of a scene of it than what he's already gotten his information, right?
Mm-hmm.
But he goes around the pile more times than is needed, right, to make it look like a bigger show than it is. Okay.
Well, see, and well, that's what I'm kind of think you're more like, I hate to say this, but kind of like a CSI type thing where you're just like really thorough investigating. Like I see you like.
He's gonna whip off the sunglasses. And
That's exactly what I was. I mean, that was what.
All right, we need some Xykryn shades.
Was it Kane? What was his name? Was it or
yeah. What's his
Kane.
name with the red?
Yeah, red hair. CSI
No.
Miami.
We don't need to go too
You guys
far
are
down
crazy.
this rabbit hole, but the supernatural episode of that was fucking hilarious.
Yes, it was.
Yeah.
But again, like I said, that's kind of how, like, in Loghain's mind, he's
Horatio.
observant and can pick out Horatio, that's his name. Can pick out like the minute details that the rest of us would miss.
Yeah.
So that's kind of my assumption, is that you're like you have this innate ability to see things that other people would miss out on. You know what I'm saying?
Yep. So after I take some additional effort, to make it look more thorough than it actually needed to be, I step up, I dust my hands off, make sure I don't have any leftovers on me.
They had a barbecue.
I look to
leftovers.
Yeah.
Leftovers.
Wow.
I look to Loghain and I go, "Have you seen a battle before?"
I have seen and read of many battles in my time.
I say, then I'm sure you can use your imagination. There was a war here. There was wolves, and there was creatures I cannot identify.
I nod, listening, and say, well,
most
Now we
likely
know.
undead, and pretty much what I would have expected to see in this fire.
Well, we have a better idea of what may come back while we're here, so, or can better prepare ourselves for what may come during our time in this village. Appreciate you using your gift to help us understand better. That way we don't get caught off guard. I suggest we continue into the village and find our guide. Maybe she can explain to us more about what happened here, why it happened, and who sent this army to attack this village.
I say, gift?
Did I
I
say
guess that would
gift?
depend on your perspective. You did say gift.
Sorry, I meant to say guide.
Okay. Well,
Brain, like I said, brain
you
fart.
said gift, so my character's taking it as that, and I go gift, and I go, again,
Freebie? No.
dust off my hands, and I go,
We
depends on your perspective.
we gifted
And then
you with an invasion horde.
yeah, you get to see horrible death all the fucking
Okay.
time. You're
I will
welcome.
admit this. I did not hear that D as at first.
What D?
When he said invasion, I thought he said invasion whore. I'm like, damn, it's just like the last D&D game we played. He got picked up by a hooker.
Those were the undeads he was speaking of. They're called invasion whores.
So
no,
thank God we don't have a bar party.
So I say that, and I go, it depends on your perspective, and I finish cleaning my hands off, and I just casually, I casually walk away.
Your gift. I'm sorry, I thought you were talking about. Yes, okay. Well, again, I'm assuming that you're gifted in perception and investigations.
Oh yeah. Well, I took it from the thing of like, this is some special thing that has been bestowed upon you. That's an honorable thing, and like, yeah. So I'm taking that philosophical perspective of it. I'm like, it depends on your perspective.
Gotcha. Okay. Again, brain is not working braining tonight, so.
Gotcha.
So all right. Now that we've done that,
it was
move ourselves into the city.
It's here, crossing through the barricade. You cross a shoddy wooden bridge. Its planks slick with rain and wear. Beyond the bridge, the cobblestones of the village street, emerge from the muck. Though they are cracked and uneven, the weeds and grass stubbornly pushing through the gaps. Pools of stagnant water reflect the gray sky above, rippling under the occasional drip of rain. Signs of desperation marks every corner. The beginnings of a wooden palisade stood along the outskirts, but it was clear the project had been abandoned before completion. Instead, scattered barricades made of half dismantled planks and logs are still dotted along the streets. Simple tools and hammers and nails and broken saws lay scattered nearby, as though their owners had simply given up. The village itself was a shadow of what it may have once been. The buildings bore deep scorch marks streaked across the walls, gashes carved into wooden beams, the roofs that had partially collapsed under the age of gashes in the wooden beams and roofs that had partially collapsed under the age from the assault. The cold fog creeps into the broken structures, seeping through the gaps and swirling lazily around their jagged edges. The silence is nearly suffocating. Windows dark, lifeless, stare like vacant eyes back out at you. But a rare few glimmering, faint candlelights defy the gloom. In one of the muddy puddles scattered across the road, a small, tattered doll lays face up, its glassy eyes fixed on the sky. The once bright fabric of its dress now sodden and caked in grime. Upon closer inspection, the faint remnants of a tag could be seen. The writing barely legible, though through the filth, read, "If it's no fun, it's no Blinsky."
This is the graffiti that says this?
There's like a tag on the doll, like from the store or something.
Okay.
Okay. It's like the store.
Yeah, and the writing says, "If it's no fun, it's no Blinsky."
No Blinsky, huh?
Mm-hmm.
I was thinking this was like a Stephen King thing, like Dreamcatcher, no bounce, no play. Like, there's some weird shit going on here now.
As you press forward, you notice further signs of neglect and unease cling to the village. Most of the houses are broken, the windows broken, some shattered inward as though by force, while others were boarded up entirely. Their doors and windows sealed unevenly with planks of wood. On several of these homes, a stark red X has been painted across the doors, standing out like bloodstains against the weathered wood.
Mm.
Oh.
Well, now.
A heavy.
And we're not seeing any people so far yet?
No.
Okay.
A heavy dread hangs in the air, so thick it seems to weigh on your shoulders. The village is deathly still, no signs of life stir outside. But the quiet was soon interrupted by a small movement in the gloom. A sleek cat in the alley, about 30 feet ahead, slips out from one of the side streets, its fur gleaming in the murky light. The cat stops briefly to glance your way, its golden eyes settling on you for a moment before continuing towards the center of town.
Is it doing it? Is it continuing in haste, or is it
Sort of.
casually walking?
I
A brisk walk.
I look at the party and say, given our history with animals in the land so far, maybe we should follow the cat and see where it leads us. Something seems different about this animal.
A nod.
As you follow, your steps echo faintly across the uneven cobblestones. A faint sound emerges from the silence. It's sobbing, soft, pained, unrelenting, but it was impossible to tell where it's coming from. The sounds sobbing, like crying.
Yeah.
The sounds drifting
Okay.
and shifting as the mist itself carries it. So it seems to come from one area, then it comes from a different, so to speak.
All right.
The oppressive quietness begins to give way to a new sensation. New sensation. A faint plume of smoke rises from the chimney ahead. With it comes the warm, enticing aroma of food. As you continue, you start to catch snippets of sound, voices, clinking of glasses, growing clearer as you near the heart of the village.
Okay.
And I think I can move y'all to the map now.
Excuse me.
Bless you.
Zoom it in. Zoom it in.
So we made it to the bar.
Not yet. Y'all are.
No, we're in the
Not yet. Y'all are.
No, we're in the part of the village that has occupants in it that hasn't been murder hoboed by the outside world.
Oh, that's how far we
so
got.
I just sat there and had a whole entire conversation with myself because I did not realize I was on mute.
Yep.
And how do you feel about your conversation? Did it progress the way that you wanted it to?
No.
No. No.
Okay. So there's a lot. So the view of these things, do most of these look like housing type
Yeah.
buildings?
Most of them, yeah.
Okay.
And you seem you see the I don't know how zoomed in y'all are, but I'm
Pretty zoomed in.
pinging
Oh yeah, I see your marker.
where the smoke is coming from.
I'm trying to zoom, but it's not really letting me. See if I can get it to zoom now.
All I'm kind of seeing is this thing in front of Raven's token, an arrow.
I don't see an arrow. Well, considering most of these look like homes and cottages and stuff, I'm just going to pass them by for the moment.
Yeah.
Are these distinctly looking more lived in and less like blood splatter and defensive, like abandonment type things?
So
like, this looks like these buildings are lived in and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, everything like seems really old here. It's
Right.
an old village. There still are, some of these houses that have the broken windows and board up windows and doors. Some of them still have that red X on the door and stuff like that.
So we do see some of these doors that have red X's. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, definitely not going to do those now. We're gonna assume that red X means bad, and I'm gonna continue forth to the noise that we heard, or the smell of the smoke and the noises, and I'm following your ping because I'm assuming that's where it's coming from.
As you reach,
I don't even see a ping.
As you reach the center of town, the scene unfolds before you. To the left, you see a store that stands, its faded sign creaking in the damp breeze. The words say, what?
Quick question, because I'm trying to get my bearings. Which way is your left?
So, coming down the street, so this would be the left.
The left of the screen, the same as yours.
Yeah, so,
well, no. Never mind.
Down from you.
Okay.
You see the sign that says Bildrath's Mercantiles. And to the right, which would be above you, is the source of the sounds and the smells becoming evident. A large building with a sagging roof bears an askew sign above its door proclaiming it to be the Blood on the Vine Tavern.
Okay. I see what you're saying.
And that's this way.
That's, right here.
Okay.
Okay. I gesture to the group and say, to the Blood and Vine Tavern. Seems like a good place to start.
Remember,
that's where the parchment told us to go.
Remember, the big dragon is kind of doped up right now.
Yep.
As you get closer to that building and the sign, on closer inspection, you see that the sign has been altered. It was once the Blood of the Vine. Now somebody has drawn like an N over the F so that it says Blood on the Vine. And as y'all are standing there, a raven flies down and perches on top of the sign. Ah! And it looks at y'all for a second.
Lovely.
I look up to the Raven and I say, don't look at me like that. We got sidetracked.
It, like, cocks its head sideways a little bit. Looking at you like even weirder. And then it flies off.
All right. Yeah, okay, so let's, I guess, enter into the tavern.
Yep.
Open the door and I step in. Casually, not...
Pushing the door open, you are met with a comforting warmth throughout this establishment. This establishment retains a shadow of its former splendor. Time and hardship have left their marks on it. The furnishings are worn, the walls are faded, the floor is scuffed, yet it still exudes a faint sense of welcome. The room falls silent, as previously y'all had heard, bantering and clinking of glasses and whatnot. As y'all enter the room, it falls silent. Every patron's gaze fixed upon you, suspiciously and curiously. Their lingering eyes linger on you. At the bar, a short barkeep is polishing glasses. His eyes darting between you and his task at hand.
Are there any large seats?
They do seem to have... They're all about the same size. They're not very big. But there does seem to be 2 stools at the bar open. Well, maybe 3 with the short end. But actual tables, there's one over here and one over here that have about 4 chairs around them.
Okay.
At the bar stands a tall man with dirty blonde hair pulled back, half back into a ponytail, dressed in finely made coat that had been clearly seen better days. He's nursing a glass of wine, his expression grim and distant. A longsword is sheathed at his side, and that would be this guy I'm describing.
I know I can't get all the way in. This woman's standing in the doorway.
You should be able to pass through her.
Raven?
I'm in.
You didn't catch that whole conversation, did you?
Yeah.
That I couldn't get in the door because you were standing in the way?
Oh, I thought I moved mine. I thought I moved it over there.
Okay. So, what's the guy we're looking at?
The guy at the bar.
I just described this one guy so far.
Okay.
Then there's the barkeep, kind of cleaning some glasses.
Oh my god, that dude looks like Stanley, the barkeep.
He does, doesn't he?
Well, the other guy looks like one of the guys off. The Golden Hand.
Excelsior!
The dirty blonde guy that I was describing is nursing a glass of wine. At the table nearby, 2 gruff men hunched over their mugs, their gazes sharp and appraising. One of them, a greasy middle-aged man with a sour expression, clenches a tankard in his hand. The momentary silence breaks, and the patrons return to their conversations. Though the atmosphere remains subdued, you can feel the weight of their eyes still darting on you from now and then. Subtle, but ever watchful. From behind the bar, you hear the bartender goes, "What are you having?"
I tell him, flogging of meat and a meal.
All right.
I look at him and said, make that 2.
I look at him and just hold up a finger, meaning make that 3.
I could eat. Yeah, go ahead and make it 4.
All right. He'll get started on that.
I say we go to this.
Yeah, I was going to say to take
actually,
take
hold
the
on a
table by
second.
the
I want to
fireplace.
look. Okay. Yeah, I was seeing if there was another table where there wasn't a door.
Kind of like
I
lose that
suggest-
table all the way to the top corner.
Yeah, I suggest that table in the top corner. So we proceed to our seats while the barkeep is preparing our meal or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of want to take in the room for a bit and see if we can, we want to act as nonchalant as possible.
I can't move
at
my
first.
guy.
I am
Click
going
on him, up,
to...
down, left, right.
Well, somebody sat underneath me.
Who sat on
No, I'm
Jinwunax?
serious. I am trying to. I'm trying
Oh,
to.
hold on. How about
Okay.
now?
Okay. There we go.
So on the table, I shared in the Discord like some menus that they have on the tables.
Is that in the live chat?
Yeah.
General chat.
General chat.
General chat. Okay.
Mashed apples and pears, roasted roots,
Mm-hmm.
beet
Yeah.
soup and brown bread. Wolf stew replaces mutton stew.
Yeah.
Okay.
Glass of wine, pitcher of wine.
Okay.
Morganthus famous pies.
As far as the
Good lord.
the wine, you see, like the glass of wine used to be 1 copper, and the pitcher of wine used to be 1 silver, but the prices have gone up.
Right.
Price
What
gouging.
is?
So Eric gets y'all's pitchers of ale together, and he goes to the table, brings them out to y'all. Do you?
I nodded at him.
Did you have a chance to look at the menu?
Yeah.
I think I want the beet soup and brown bread.
I say wolf stew, and I ask him, what is this Morgantha's famous pies?
Oh, it's a bit of a local woman who bakes pies at her place, and she brings them to the different places around, trying to sell them. Some of them are fruit, and some of them are meat.
Huh.
I'm kind of wary of meat around here. I
Meat
mumble
pies are
under my
very
breath.
common back in that day. Yeah.
Did you see the cows?
Right. I'll try one. I tell him I'll take a famous pie.
Okay.
I'll do the wolf stew.
Fulfill my curiosity.
Okay.
I look at him and say, what kind of roots are roasted?
Today they would have carrots, some roasted carrots.
I will take the roasted roots.
Okay. And he'll go over.
So, after he departs, I kind of start scanning the room, looking at the different patrons to see if any of them match the description given to us of the apparent or our supposed guide.
The little old lady from Pasadena.
Yeah. You do not see any that match her description.
I look around the table and say, I think that either she hasn't arrived or she may not exist at all.
When he returns with our food, I'll ask.
Feel free.
The other gentleman that was standing at the bar had been kind of keeping an eye on y'all, and after y'all had decided to order something, he comes walking over to the table. He goes over to y'all and with a faint smile, he goes, "Newcomers to the land, welcome. Please, allow me to cover your drinks and food."
Xykryn raises an eyebrow.
"Oh, where are my manners? I am Ismark Indirovich, Burgomaster of Barovia."
I thank him and I
Look,
say, to what do we owe the hospitality?
thank you for your hospitality.
Oh,
But to further my companion's question, to what do we owe such an honor and esteemed resident of the town?
Ismark, as he introduced himself to y'all, goes and sits and offers to buy y'all's food and drink for y'all. This guy down here, you hear from amongst the whispers in the room. This guy spits into his mug. "Ha! Ismark the Lesser. Now he wants to help the villagers. Best y'all not even listen to him. He'll just get you killed." Ismark stiffens at the remark, but forces a strained smile, refusing to engage in the argument.
I look around Mr. Bismarck and go, "You're in line. We'll talk to you later." And then I re-meet Bismarck's glance.
Okay.
I look at him and said, if you don't understand what my companion is, you just need to wait your turn to talk. We're having a conversation.
Ismark sits down with y'all and he begins talking. He goes, "So, y'all look new to the land." I said, I am the newly appointed Burgomaster of this land." He shares that his father, Kaolin Indirovich, his father, was, up until recently, the Burgomaster of the Village of Barovia. Our little village here has been on hard times of late, and it's good to see.
We kind of help but notice that as walking in.
It's refreshing to see new faces from time to time. So, are y'all from the west? Are y'all from Kresk, or where are y'all from?
I answer, yes.
I look at him and say, different places.
Why don't you tell us your tale first, and then we'll we have learned a certain amount of caution of this land in the short period of time that we have visited it. We've learned to be cautious. Why don't you share with us your tale of this town and your experiences, and we'll share as we need.
He says the village here is recently decimated by a siege from Strahd's undead forces. While the undead were dispatched of, the village has suffered heavily. Many Barovians fled to Vallaki, the fortified town to the west of here. Many are still missing. I've had to dispatch several such parties across nearby woods in search of missing people.
We came across one of your parties looking for a young woman.
Likely Gertruda, Miss Mary's daughter. She's been...
How many people have gone missing?
It's hard to exactly count. With some of them leaving under their own accord, seeking refuge to Vallaki, they've fled. Others have stayed and fought. Many of them, there were many casualties. We are still trying to figure out exactly who's missing and whatnot. Miss Mary has been one that has been frantic over the disappearance of her daughter, and so that's one of the ones that we are currently in search for. There is another family. The whole family is missing. They were one of the ones that did not flee to Vallaki, were not part of the refugees that fled, but we have not found them yet, so we're not sure what exactly has happened of them.
Did they all go missing at the same time, or has this been a reoccurring event?
Mostly at the same time, yes. It's been quite chaotic over this last week. Starting about a week ago, the forces of undead were unleashed upon the city, and they've been dealing with that for the last few days. Up until about 2 days ago is when it stopped. That's also when my father died.
During the battle?
Yes.
Why would Count Strahd send an army of undead to attack your village, your town?
To pay for our sins.
What sins?
About 90 days ago, there was a group of people who decided to storm the castle, per se, and try to take out Strahd. He had actually been slumbering for the last few years. They thought they could catch him off guard and take him out.
What do you mean slumbering for the last few years?
Well, he was in hibernation, so to speak. It's one of his down times. Rare.
Who is this Strahd?
He is the count of this land. This land we are all cursed and held captive in.
What do you mean held captive? You just said some villagers left for another village.
Yes, they are able to leave the village, but, no one can leave Barovia itself. The country is trapped in this mist that he keeps us in by.
What happens if you try and leave the mist?
Those who have tried either come back exasperately exhausted, or we find them dead.
Why does he keep y'all trapped here for?
I don't know.
When he says exasperately exhausted, I kind of look to Loghain, since he's the one who has the note on the compass from that dead dude.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of raise my eyebrows like, I don't say anything, though.
I want to know what kind of undead.
They were like zombies, basically. Best way I could put them.
And how are they turned?
I don't know.
Were these people that fell in battle against Strahd, or did he raise them?
I do not fully understand his powers. I don't know.
I see.
All the tricks he has up his sleeves.
So I am curious, if we were to decide to leave Barovia, what would befall us?
No one's ever made it out of the mists.
That's interesting.
I look at him and say, are you certain of that? Anybody at all?
Not that we know of. Many have tried, and they've all either have been found dead or have turned back and come back almost fatigued to death.
Right. Not even through the gate to the, whatever direction that was that we came from?
No one's been able to make it to the gate.
What causes that exhaustion? We passed a fellow that had succumbed to it.
Something with the mist itself. It cuts your breath. It sucks the life from you.
Okay.
Is this how Barovia has always been?
For many centuries now.
Centuries?
Yes, since I think, as records have told, as far back as the early thousands, 1100s.
Okay.
So who was before Strahd?
His father.
And before him?
So
His grandfather.
yeah.
Trying to get an
It
idea
seems to
here.
be
Leave me alone.
He says
that Strahd's family this land for quite some time. We can establish the lineage there, I believe.
Is it like
obviously
many generations?
you're not from this land. You do not know. Strahd has been
Obvious.
ruler of these lands for the last 600 years.
That's a mighty long lifespan.
He is what they call a vampire.
Oh, lovely.
A chill goes down my spine.
Many have tried to take him out. None have succeeded.
Maybe they didn't have the correct tools.
So, for the most part, as long as you don't anger him, you're relatively safe.
Oh, I'm screwed.
Don't piss off the vampire.
And about 3 months ago, Daru had this idea of gathering a bunch of people together, sort of militia, to storm the castle and kill Strahd.
So I look at him and say, so in a nutshell, land's been ruled by this family for a long time. Strahd himself is a vampire. Keeps y'all trapped here. Y'all had the brilliant idea to try and attack him while he's asleep. Now he's pissed off and wiped out most of your village with his undead.
Precisely.
And
Yeah.
we near why?
Xykryn says, I ask myself that question every day. And then I continue on with the conversation and say, so what about this Vallaki you said? Have they fared any better against this situation?
As far as we know, the attacks have solely been focused on the village of Barovia here. We have had a group of people that have fled to Vallaki in hopes Vallaki is a much better defended city, and they left Barovia in hopes of better safety.
I look at him and say, has anybody thought to apologize and make peace with Strahd? I mean, he is a vampire with an undead army. Maybe try and get back on his good side?
Perhaps. The strangest thing is, though the attacks have ceased 3 nights ago, they were
Perhaps they
every night
got what they wanted.
up until that point. Father died. Nothing since.
Yeah, you cut out there. Who died?
He once again he says his father died, and the attacks have ceased since then.
Since then. Yeah.
Did your father, I look at him, did your father approve of the priest's son leading to try and kill Strahd? Did he give him the blessing and help in any way?
He was actually against it. But
interesting.
The group kind of made up their own mind to go anyway. He says.
But basically, what we're getting from this is that the attack stopped once his father's died. Is what we can assess from that.
And none of the villagers that stormed the castle returned.
Well, it's obvious he blames the entire village for the.
He sent his chamberlain, who is called Rahadin, just after the attack on the castle. He sent him with a message to tell the village that they had 90 days, basically, to make peace with their gods, and then all hell was going to break loose on them.
And when was this?
90 days ago?
Yeah. And after the 90 days, that's when the invasion would not occurred. They were trying to build defenses in preparation for it. They got halfway through somewhat. They weren't able to finish. Like, they had tried to start building a palisade around the city, but weren't able to get it done in time.
Sure. Yeah, Palisades take times, and I'm pretty sure it's longer than 90 days. So, okay.
Did anyone try to negotiate or try and treat with the Chamberlain to see if maybe there was a avoid the total destruction and devastation of this town?
He left without being bartered with. We couldn't get another word in after he said his message.
He was just a messenger and literally about face and left.
Yeah.
Okay. I asked him. I noticed the X's on the door and part of the village abandoned. Did this happen during the fight? What is that about?
His expression kind of hangs more worried, and he goes, ever since the attacks, villagers have been going sick, coming down with a horrible disease. We've lost a bunch from the disease, and they seem to come back to life sometime after they're dead.
Okay.
So
we have big ass attack. Oh, was there more you needed to say?
He just says that they have boarded up some of the residences because of the illness and stuff.
Sure.
So they're quarantined.
Right.
Basically, we walked through the plague part of the city, the plague quarantine section of the city, on our way in. We're just scrolling through the plague sector.
So there was a big ass attack with dead. Bunch of people got killed. Now there's a zombie outbreak.
And people are going missing from the town mostly all at once.
Y'all really pissed him off.
Yeah, I guess the last question. Probably need to stop and take a break. Stop the episode so we can, and probably need to ask him some more stuff when we come back next session.
Mm-hmm.
But the last thing I want to ask, so that I can think about what to say for next session, I look at him and I go, "You sound like, I say basically allude to the fact that like these all sound like various different afflictions," and I ask back to the disappearances, and I say, did these disappearances, did they happen in the evening? Was there events that coincided with them? A commonality. I'm searching for a commonality, basically. Like, is there any commonality in the disappearance event?
Also, did they have anything in common?
Yeah.
Did they all work together?
Were they all chaplains of this, were they the flock of the guy who started the uprising, or things like that?
It'll say that there doesn't seem to be any commonality. Different people
just completely random,
right, are getting sick. Some of them have died from it. A bunch of people are still sick in their homes. He has their village doctor trying to figure out what's causing all this, because even though the fighting has stopped 3 nights ago, people are continuing to get sick.
Sure.
Actually, no one had gotten sick during the fighting. It all seems to be after the fighting.
Okay.
People went missing probably throughout the fighting. Like he said, some of them are like evacuees that left to go to Vallaki. Some of them might have died in the battle. It's hard to kind of pinpoint exactly who and how many are actually missing that should still be there.
Gotcha. Okay.
How does the town get its water?
There's a well right outside in the center of town, I believe. Yeah, it's not on the map, but there is a... Oh, yeah, no, it is on the map. I see it.
Okay.
It's to the south, just barely to the east of where y'all are at.
Okay.
Behind...
Well, I think that's a good...
We had pointed out where, Bill Draft's mercantile was. It's behind Bill Draft's.
Okay. I'm with Sax. I got a bunch of other questions.
Yeah, let's This gives us enough to let the brain stews, percolate a little bit, so that when we come back next session, we have more questions to ask and more investigations to do.
One of the things he does want to get out before we end is he's needing y'all's help. Finally, through talking, he has two main concerns that he's trying to find help with. One, he had talked about his father, and he says that his father is actually still, they have the body still at the mansion, and he hasn't been able to get help bringing his father to the cemetery. And he also mentions about his sister, Irina, and that he's afraid for her safety. He finally alludes to the fact that Strahd seems to have taken an eye to her.
Okay.
And so he fears. What is her name? He fears for her safety.
Irina.
Yeah. Thank you.
And he wants to try and find somebody to escort her safely to Vallaki.
Okay.
All right. I look at. Oh, sorry.
He just says with that there's the Church of St. Entro. It's on hallowed ground. She'll be safe there.
What church is it?
The Church of St. Andrew.
I look at Ismark. I look around at him and my companions and say, we have been traveling for some time and have already encountered
he goes,
many things in your land.
There are no rooms available here, but I invite y'all to come and stay at the mansion.
I look at the party and say, well, do we stay here, or do we go with Ismark back to the mansion and rest? I look at him and said, either way, to meditate and think on what you have told us tonight, because we still have many questions that may help lead us to answers. But first, we are weary from our travels and our battles and wish to rest peacefully in a bed as well as clean ourselves up. But in the morning, we would like to sit down with you again and go over more details and questions that we have. But for tonight, you've definitely given us a lot to think on and ponder on before we decide what, if anything, we can do to help, if that's what our group decides to do together.
Yeah, we're in an unwelcoming land, so I would say one roof over our head is as good as another at this point.
Eric goes,
true.
Delivers your food to y'all.
Okay.
We eat. I look at the party and say, I personally would feel more comfortable going to the mansion. We don't know anybody here in this particular tavern, but at least we have had some conversation with Ismark. I don't know how y'all feel. I don't necessarily trust him, but we do know him so
right
far.
In front of his face.
Yeah.
Hey, look, you gotta understand. I'm a high elf, very blunt about it. I'm gonna be blunt about everything with. So I look at him. I said, I apologize if I've offended you. We are strangers in this land, and we do not know what motives people have. But you, at the very least, have been welcome. I look at the rest of the party and say, "What do y'all want to do?"
Eat our dinner.
Ismark was like, no offense taken. That kind of attitude will serve you well in these lands.
I nod as I begin eating my roasted carrots and sipping on the tankard of wine that was delivered to us.
Like I said, he covered all the expenses for everything.
All right. My vote is we go follow Ismark to his home and at least be under the roof of somebody who has at least welcomed us into the land.
I agree.
Finally, this guy here has had enough, and he slams his tankard on the table and says,
"Bullshit!
and that's where we end.
Great. Bar fight.
Yeah. I
All
wink at
right.
the guy.
Huh?
I wink at the guy on the way out.
Wow. I wink at the gentleman. Hey, how you doing?
Not like that. More of like a I'm your
You wanna know-
huckleberry kind of wink. You
You
know?
want to know? You
We'll
want to
be
know why
back.
they call me? You want to know why they call me the Red Demon?
Yeah, exactly. You know, if you go back to what's his face in Tombstone, you know, Val Kilmer. You know, I mean, you know, like
I'm your
winks at the
Huckleberry.
guy, and I'm your huckleberry. Kind of that kind of a wink, but you know.
Yep, that sounds like a good ending point.
All right, so everybody, thank y'all for joining us, and continue with us next time as we
Yeah, thank
delve
you.
deeper into Barovia.
Yep,
secrets.
thank y'all.